I remember when I was in kindergarten, there were some boys who lived in my neighborhood who we were all in the same class. So I guess like either before school or after school, sometimes we'd do like a carpool situation. At my house, we were having a Filipino breakfast of pandesal, which is like this breakfast dessert bread sort of thing. And then we had hot chocolate. And so what my mom had taught me to do would be to dip your pandesal, your bread, into your hot chocolate, and then you would eat it. And then she would call it sao-sao, so like to dip. My white peer was in the room. I would sao-sao my pandesal and then eat it. And he said, ew, that's so gross. And I was like, why is it gross? I love this. It was like one of my favorite things to eat. And so then there, I remember feeling really ashamed and different. But not really knowing why. Like, I don't think I like cried about it. But I think I just learned that this is just a normal thing. I remember bringing some like chicken adobo to school one day. And I remember like the kids like making fun of me, like, oh, what are you eating? Like I had it wrapped in like foil and I was just like eating it like, you know, a little like drumstick with my hands. And the kids started to make fun of me. So I felt really ashamed. So I remember asking my mom like to only make me peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And so that's all I ate, which in retrospect is so gross. Why would I want peanut butter and jelly sandwiches over adobo? Those were like some of the little sacrifices, I guess, one makes. You know, in retrospect, I think like that's so sad that a 6-year-old, 7-year-old has to learn to adjust to these things to avoid, you know, racism. So that's sad. In the moment, I don't know if I felt sad. I think I just felt ashamed. And then also I felt like this urgency or this need to change. So it was like I was activated to change my behavior in order to not be discriminated against, or in this case, to be made fun of. You know, there were just little messages here and there about needing to assimilate, needing to change to what was the norm. There are some people that would probably say that like, oh, well, all kids try to fit in and all kids like change to be part of the group. And to that, I say that like assimilation is far more harmful and has far more meaning because it's not that you're just trying to fit in to be like other people, but that you have to give a part of yourself up. You have to give up something that was probably important to you. That is part of your cultural identity, is part of your family identity, part of your family history, simply because some other white kids told you that your way of being was wrong or weird or different. And so for me, that's like a really sad thing. But little messages that I got throughout that time, like, you know, just the way I said words. I mean, I'm American born. I speak English as my primary language. My parents made sure that we spoke English well because they wanted us to avoid experiencing discrimination. My parents speak English as well, but it wasn't their first language. But some of the words they would say with a Filipino accent. And so that's how I learned how to speak English, was where certain words had Filipino accent. And so I would go to school and I would say those words. And then again, I would get made fun of, corrected, or sometimes even shamed. Like, how come you don't know how to say that word correctly? And I was like, just, this is what I've been exposed to, you know? There's an expectation of how you're supposed to be. And if you don't fit that, then somehow you're the one that's deficient, as opposed to recognizing that if you do know something like that, perhaps you're the one who's had access to resources or you've had access to privilege. And so that's something that I remember as a kid as well.